Hello, Stuart.
Good evening, good evening. Good evening to you too, listener.
Oh, hello, listeners.
This is all plural, you're optimistic.
Yes, there's several. I mean, there's at least two.
At least two.
At least two. I'm very sure of that.
Good evening to those two chaps.
Stuart, how are you?
I'm fine, I'm cold. Winter is firmly setting in here in northeast England, but in general, I'm pretty good. Got a little bit of the sniffles.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But by and large, very good. I was up until 7 o'clock this morning drinking. and I got out of bed today at 3 p.m. I watched a movie, and then I've spent all afternoon watching football, and now I'm back on the booze, and here we are.
Wise course of action.
How are you?
Can't complain, which is basically just, shorthand for things could be a lot better, but they are basically going the way I was expecting them to at the moment. Yep. So, yeah, I'm all right. I'm good.
Yeah.
So, I've got a note here from yesterday. You sent me to remember something because you would forget. And it says, two losers do requests.
Two losers do, yeah, we do requests. We've received some fan requests from...
So what are we going to do then?
I mean, if evidence were needed that we do have listeners, we've actually had requests. So we're going to give the people what they want, and we're going to review the movies that have been requested. People seem to be fans of our movie review for whatever reason. Oh dear, that didn't sound great.
No, there's an alarm going off on my phone because I am a professional.
Okay. Actually, I better put mine on silent. This is all staying in.
Oh yes, definitely.
We're going to be reviewing 2003's slasher homage, House of a Thousand Corpses by Mr. Robert Zombie, Esquire.
It feels so weird to say that we're going to be reviewing it because it's just basically us having a drink and having a chat about a movie.
Not a review, but
we're not the Hartley, Siskel, and fucking Ebert.
No, absolutely not. We're barely even Commode and Mayo.
I don't even know who they are.
Oh, they're Britain's answer to Siskel and Ebert.
Right, so we're going to be talking about House of a Thousand Corpses by Rob Zombie.
House of a Thousand Corpses, yeah.
But I've got a question first.
Oh, go ahead.
Are you drinking anything?
I am, yes. I've switched drinks since we've started this call. Actually, I've finished one and I've polished off one. I'm drinking wine. What kind of wine, you ask? Red. I don't know anything more about it than that. Let's have a look at the bottle.
We got all kinds of wine, red and white.
It's we got both kinds. It's it's Chilean and it's a Merlot.
A Merlot.
A Merlot.
A Chilean Merlot.
2016, good year.
It's like, I want your newest wine!
It was two for a tenner.
Merlots, people give it a bit too much shit in my opinion. Merlots are basically designed to be easily drinkable red wine, so there's nothing wrong with it.
It's by no means my favourite, but it's fine. It's Casillero del Diablo, which used to be endorsed by Ryan Giggs. And if it's good enough for Giggsy, it's good enough for me.
Fair enough.
What about yourself? I can see what you're drinking actually from you.
Oh yeah, that's just like the first time we're doing a little bit of camera work at the same time. It's probably not going to go into the actual audio log, but yeah, Stuart can see me. I'm drinking Veltins, which is on sale at Lidl's because it was like 30% off for an entire tray of cans. So I've got like 24 cans all crammed into my fridge because I can't leave it anywhere else.
I mean, it is the season now. The supermarkets are offering you buy all the Christmas booze now. Oh, get stocked up.
Yes, that works with me.
That is. I am worried. My fridge isn't big enough for. I'm just having to buy spirits. I think I've got cupboards, but I haven't got much fridge space. So
well, then there we go.
Cans are an issue.
Go with fridge space then. Spirits then. Right. So, are you familiar with Rob Zombie? Because
I'm a big fan of Mr. Zombie. I was going to ask you the same question actually before we got into the actual meat and potatoes of this. Huge fan of Rob Zombie. I mean, I'm struggling to think of when I first became aware of him, but he definitely has provided at least one theme song for a WWE wrestler in the past, and he himself has appeared on various WWE shows because he's a big fan, as he would be.
as Rob Zombie.
Clearly, he is a fan of all things trashy, i.e. slashy movies, wrestling and metal music, as am I. So, yeah, Rob Zombie is my kind of people.
I was aware of him as an artist, but I wasn't aware of him as a director until I don't know quite what year it was, the Halloween remake of his.
Oh, yeah, did he do the My Bloody Valentine remake as well? Or was that somebody else?
Did he or didn't he?
I don't know. It's the kind of thing he would have done. I think the first movie of his I ever saw was Drag Me to Hell.
Drag Me to Hell is by Sam Raimi.
Which one's he then? Is it Jennifer's Body? Or was that Sam Raimi as well?
Jennifer's Body, the one with Megan Fox.
Yeah, is that Rob Zombie?
I don't know. It doesn't sound like a Rob Zombie film.
He did one of them anyway. He did one of those films.
No, My Bloody Valentine 3D is done by Patrick Lussier.
All right, clearly I'm a lot more familiar with Rob Zombie's as a musician than I am with his movies, I have seen. So we watched. I watched House of Thousand Corpses this morning. You watched it last night? Yes.
Yes, indeed.
I've seen the sequel. I've seen The Devil's Reject. I've never seen House of a Thousand Corpses. So I have seen at least one Rob Zombie film. And I knew I liked the sequel, so I assumed I would like this.
Right.
Did I? We'll find out.
It's the sequel. It's the same characters, isn't it?
Many of them, yeah.
Many of them. Well, yeah, not all of them. So it's basically it has no impact on this film at all.
Not really. No, because everything's kind of wrapped up at the end of this anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
So no, it doesn't have an impact. Have you seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 and 2?
Yes.
So the sequel to this is very much what Chainsaw Massacre 2 is to 1, as in you can basically see it without having seen the first one. It doesn't really. There's no plot threads that are carrying over. It's kind of
unlike The Godfather and Godfather 2.
Yes. It kind of stands alone.
Its own little beastie.
Yeah, right. I think there's like a couple of nods to the first one, but nothing plot-wise that you wouldn't understand. Right,
so let's do this chronologically, I suppose, because that's the best way we can do these things.
That's where we normally do it. It's never failed us yet.
Yeah.
People seem to like it.
Yeah, they'll pick the movie part bit by bit, what we like and what we don't like. Right, so straight off the bat, I have to say I love Sid Haig. Captain Spaulding. Oh my god. He just demands the attention of the entire scene with that weird makeup and just the way he, has himself in the scene. He carries him.
He's great. Captain Spaulding is a great character. I mean, literally in that very first scene, it's immediately, because as I said, I've seen the sequel, so I knew anyway, but like immediately coming in, scene one, you're going, this guy's great. This guy is charismatic as all fuck. He's got his big clown makeup on. In fact, I think the first note I've written down here is, let's see, Captain Spaulding oozing charisma right away. That is the first thing that I wrote down.
Oh, we're on the same page here then, because I already knew Sid Haig because I've seen him in a couple of other things, most notably the third Hatchet film. You probably don't know those. It might just be me. But he has a cameo in that, and in that cameo, like 5 minutes, and he's just taking away the entire film, like it's his. And here as well, he comes into the movie, and we have the opening bit, and I was under the impression it was the Captain Spaulding film.
Yeah,
but
he's
no,
really not in this
apparently
much.
not.
Sadly, not in this much at all, but
no.
Very much scene-stealing, movie-stealing scenes from
Definitely.
the great man. Cool little sequence, the opening scene. I'm not sure what it's for, because it never comes back again.
It's just to give us an idea of wrongness, like something is not.
We're in a weird part of the USA.
Yeah, because the people, even the guy that was on the toilet was fucking weirdo.
Yeah, that little weirdo dude. Yeah, and even the two robbers that come in are both fucking weirdos. Like some big.
Well, they're just hicks.
Big hick types. Yeah.
They get taken out by a guy with a huge Muppet head carrying an axe or something like that.
Yeah, it's just some bladed weapon. It's not really. You don't really get a good look at it. But yeah, really weird.
Fuck your mama. Fuck your grandma. And most notably, fuck you.
Brilliant.
And that line, it just made me go like, Oh yes, I'm gonna enjoy this one.
Yes, it gets off to a flying start, and then we're off to the not too distant future. Is it meant to be on the same day, or is it like?
I thought it was meant to be around the same era because it says 1957 when we start off, and the people that we see don't really dress modern. I want to say it's all a bit like thick sweaters and long sleeves and no tattoos.
I mean, if it was made today, you would just assume they were hipsters. But in 2003, less of a thing.
Yeah. I think
the first.
Yeah.
You go.
With the first shot he does, where it pans down from the fried chicken and I don't know what it said, death
Gasoline.
tour, gasoline. That's it.
Fried chicken and gasoline.
Fried chicken and gasoline, death tour, and it pans from up and then slowly down, and you see a dog and just a guy, and I don't know what it is about that. It set the atmosphere for me. Like, oh yes, here we go. That's a film. That's how you direct.
Yeah, no,
Rob Zombie, if anything, is great visually. Set in his ways.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, his music videos look a lot like this film. Actually, smash cuts to weird shit and things like that.
I am aware a little bit of that because I had a brief time in my life where I was weirdly into Rob Zombie directed videos.
As we all have been, I'm sure.
All of us, yes, sure.
Yes. So we cut to these dumb Scooby-Doo type teens pushing about in the car. First thing that struck me immediately, Rainn Wilson is in this film.
Yeah, Dwight from The American Office.
Which I had no idea about at all. He's a great comedic actor. The women that are with him, less so, let's say.
I have no idea who the other three people are, to be honest.
No, not a clue. But those two women, they weren't brilliant, were they?
No.
Quite wooden.
It's just that they just... Nothing about them did anything for me. They were just kind of there to be our surrogates into a very strange and disturbing world.
A little. And the first thing that struck me about those women as characters, fucking irritating. My God, they're such downers. Oh, look, come and have a look at this cool tour. I think, let's fucking get back in the car. Oh, God, they're so negative.
I was under the impression they were there to write a book, at least Dwight and the other guy, because they were taking notes and looking around strange locations, and they're like, we're going to make a book for people that drive around the USA in weird off-road, shows like this, like the Death Tour. And then they are like, we don't like it here, because maybe they were just going to that one girl's father because they were supposed to meet up with him. And this was just a side project, but it didn't really mesh. It made me go like, if they're meant to be unlikable, well, good job, you've done your job.
Yeah, no, like it was like there was definitely a point that came with the two women, particularly Jerry less so, the excitable sidekick to Rainn Wilson, him less so, but a little bit. The two women, like I was like, I can't wait till these two start getting stabbed up. Like, fucking irritating. Like they were like the teens from like the latter day Freddy Krueger movies, where it's like, well, you actually meant to want these people to die.
Yeah, it's just like you want them to die because it's a slasher film.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though this is not really a slasher film, in my opinion. But we'll get to that a little bit further on. Have to hark back to Captain Spaulding a little bit because he confronts Rainn. What was his name? Rainn?
In the movie. Bill?
Yeah, Bill. That's it. Billy. That's it.
Billy. Yeah.
So he goes up to Bill and he's like, "So why the fuck would I drive around the USA for?" And there's just an inherent wrongness. I mean, this guy shot these two hicks earlier on in the film, and there's something weird going on. But it's just he just carries so much menace, and it's a great flavor to the film because that something is going to go wrong with these kids because otherwise it wouldn't be called House of a Thousand Corpses, I suppose.
No, I mean, kind of spoilers in the title, really. People are going to get fucked up in this movie. It's not a clever title. And then where do we go from there? So where do we go from there? They go to the Death Tour. They go on the Death Tour. Yeah, that's right.
And we get the big Mongo man who pushes them in a cart.
Oh yeah,
just the behemoth. And we get like a little exposition about all these potential fictional serial killers. I call them slashers because you expect them to be in movies and such. But these local serial killers and Captain Spaulding doing his best to entertain them.
On the death tour, the first serial killer we get a glimpse at, Albert Fish. This is going to be such a weird sentence to drop in. He is the favourite serial killer of the guy who requested us to review this movie. So there you go.
That's a sentence I was not expecting.
That's a cool little bonus for it. Maybe that's why he likes this film so much. I'll do the movie with Albert Fish.
That's a very narrow superlative as well. This is the favourite serial killer of the person who requested the film. Okay, cool.
Yes, he's a big fan of Albert Fish as well. I didn't know much about Albert Fish, so I did a bit of Googling during watching the movie, and it turns out he killed and cannibalised children. So
I'm now led to believe that most of these were actual people?
So the first two definitely are. Albert Fish definitely is.
Perhaps not Dr. Satan.
Ed Gein definitely is. Dr. Satan... See,
maybe not so much.
Because I'm big into true crime and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, Albert Fish, I know him. Ed Gein, I know him. And then it was like, Dr. Satan, I was like, I probably would have heard that name if he were real. So, I'm
it's
assuming
probably done intentional. It's like how Star Trek does it, you know? Like, oh, I know all the literary greats. Victor Hugo, J.K. Rowling, C. Fox Appleflick from the planet X New York 5. Oh, yes.
Yeah, it is definitely rule of three stuff going on. Like, you should pay attention to this one weird name that sticks out. He's going to be important later on.
Right, so basically they get ousted pretty soon from the tour because Spaulding doesn't want them around, despite you'd think he'd want to make money off them, but fine. So they get in a car and they pick up a hitchhiker, played by, I'm guessing, Rob Zombie's wife?
Yes, Rob Zombie's wife.
Purely guesswork, because this is going to come back a little bit later on as well. So it's raining, and they're in a car, and it's all still interwoven with these news flashes that a couple of cheerleaders have gone missing. And
amazing.
If there's one thing this film manages to do, it's constantly amp up a slow building sense of dread. Something is going to go wrong very badly, very poorly for some people, but you don't know at what point the flipping point is when shit's gonna hit the proverbial fan.
That scene in particular is very kind of... It's a bit like a ghost story. They're in the car, it's a rainy night, they pick up a hitchhiker, there's a report on the radio about cheerleaders missing in the area. It builds exactly as like any creepypasta builds. It is very much that kind of vibe. I think it's around that time as well we start to get the first glimpses of the badass soundtrack that Rob Zombie's put together. The opening credits, there's a little Rob Zombie riff in there.
Oh, that was
epic.
That was very good, yeah.
Oh man,
wasn't Marilyn Manson in the film at one point?
Yeah, Marilyn's in very early on. Yep.
One of the songs. I thought I'd recognised it.
Yeah, I'd recognised his tones. Yep.
That's excellent. If there's one thing Rob Zombie has, is, well, surprisingly, a great taste in music.
And why would that be surprising?
I'm slightly tongue-in-cheek here. I was being facetious, thank you very much.
It's around this time as well we start to get the cool cuts of... so it starts cutting to like these little weird, out-of-focus, dream-like snapshots of Rob Zombie's wife, baby Firefly, being all weird and shit. And you get all these little cuts to like old horror movies and like horror TV shows. Bit like just really stylish, really cool, and I think it just kind of sets the tone of being like, hey, this is the kind of shit that we're paying homage to here. Like, this is what you're in for.
So yeah, they get a flat tire, and Rob Zombie's wife, whose name I don't know in the film,
baby, her name is.
Was that it? Just I thought it was baby. Yeah.
No, baby Firefly. That's all she's
okay.
Referred to.
So she and Billy go to the local whatever. They call it, like, a car shop, I think. Well, no, her brother's got a pickup truck. That was it.
Yeah, brother's got a pickup truck, yeah.
Yeah, so they get her brother to get the car, and they all relocate to the house. And before that, Billy is alone with baby Firefly. And this is where I thought, oh, hang on, that must be Rob Zombie's wife. Because there's a shot where she's wearing pajamas, and those things don't reach all the way up to where they should reach.
No.
And I was like, Christ, this girl's fucking hot. And then it clicked something for me. It's like, and then oh wait, Rob Zombie fucking loves showing off his fucking hot wife.
Yes.
He puts her half naked in every film he can. That must be Rob Zombie's wife.
Yeah. Yeah, she's did a couple of videos as well, writhing around in states of undress. Yeah, we get to see a lot of... her name's like Sherry Moon Zombie or something. We get to see a lot of Mrs. Zombie in this film, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And yeah, so she takes Rain back to the spooky Resident Evil 7 house and tries to sex him up while the others are being towed there. And he's having none of it. He's all nervous.
Oh, he's got a girlfriend in the car.
You saying that as if he should have just gone for it. That's the kind of man Dutchman is, ladies.
I'm single, by the way. Then they end up in the house, and the brother starts fixing the car, and they meet the mother of the family, who's a bit weird.
A bit weird. Jerry gets
slight understatement.
Yeah, Jerry gets a good look at her tits when she comes up and sits on the sofa next to him.
Jerry's girlfriend doesn't like that.
No, Jerry's totally fine with all of this as well. Jerry is like into it. He's like, look at all this creepy shit. Jerry is so much like an ADD child throughout this film. He's just so excited like the whole time. Well, not the whole time, but
well, as long as it stays fun.
A good portion. It's around this time as well. I think we get upstairs and we see the cheerleaders all tied up.
Yeah, just a little bit later, but it's about this point in the film. Yeah, because just before the big show.
And there's a bit, because there's a bit where it's just her and Rainn Wilson, and he's like, oh, is there anybody else in the house? He's like, oh, my brother's upstairs. I think he's just messing around. And then, like, he's got all the cheerleaders tied up there, and he's, like, doing weird shit to them.
Then we meet the entire family. And
yeah, the whole Munster clan is there.
Literally, this is the point when I thought, like, oh, hang on, this is just an 80s horror film, but then with a slightly more modern uptake on it, like...
Yep.
Aesthetics upgraded, the film techniques have been better, improved, but it's very much so rooted in, like, you like retro scares, we'll give you fucking retro scares.
And it's got the classic mix of, like, oh, you've got the brother who's, like, big and, like, vaguely retarded, he's all burnt by fire, he wears, like, a mask and shit, like, very sort of The Hills Have Eyes, Leatherface vibes coming from him.
Oh, yes.
You've got, like, the weird cult brother, you've got the old crazy grandpa type. It's all horror stereotypes are here, and they are all in the Firefly family.
And they all work perfectly.
Yes, they do. It is great. I mean, because this is very much kind of Rob Zombie loves this stuff, and you can tell. I think it's all done with like a great enthusiasm and a great love of the genre. Like everything's kind of over the top, but it's all pitched so perfectly because
it's with a loving wink.
Definitely, 100%.
So even if you can take it like, oh, it might be slightly parody, it's still like fully fledged an homage. It's
definitely coming from a good place. He's not poking fun like, oh, look at this shit. It's like, oh, I know it's kind of cheesy, but I love this stuff. And, me too, so.
This film, it doesn't really have much plot because we're kind of speeding right through it. And there's no real monumental events until, well, the ones we've already discussed earlier on, and the really shocking moments in a bit. So it's very light on plot, but everything still works. At no point are you bored by it, I find.
No, it is. I think. This is going to sound like a really damning criticism, but it's not really. A good portion of it is a lot of style over substance. It is very much the whole plot of this movie can be boiled down into teenagers going to a creepy house. Bad shit happens. Like that is the entire plot of the film. It's no more nuanced than that. But it's never dull because there's so many cool visuals and like weird freaky characters, and all of the Fireflies and Captain Spaulding, they're all so interesting as like these fucking country bumpkin weirdo like swamp dwelling types. It's never dull. So it does get by a lot on like all the cool visuals and cuts away to weird distorted images of like the tortured cheerleaders and shit like that.
Give me a B, give me an A,
oh,
give
God,
me a B, give me a Y. What's that, Sally?
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah.
Right, so then we have the big show where Baby does a little Betty Boop.
A Betty Boop routine, yeah. Oh, and fucking, that was what I was going to say. After dinner, the grandpa gets on stage. He does his fucking Andrew Dice Clay routine.
he goes on first, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's the warm-up act. He does a Dice Man set.
He's just swearing and
Jerry is loving that shit. He's eating that shit. He gives him a standing ovation. Jerry loves his set. He loves it. Clearly a big fan of the Dice Man. And then then Baby comes out in her David Bowie costume and does a.
I suppose you could say that, yes.
does a Betty Boop routine.
I wanna be loved by you. Boop, boop, beep, boop.
And this was the crowning moment. I must confess, I don't know either of the girls' names in this movie, the actresses or the characters. But the crowning moment of like Billy's girlfriend, the more annoying one.
Yeah,
the
more annoying one.
Get off him, you whore! It's porn level acting when she's like going off on, but proper porn level acting.
It's
Awful
cringeworthy.
It is bad,
but it's not important. It's because they get confronted with whatever the fuck's going on, and they try to run away.
A great insult as well. A great threat, sorry. When she's like, what the fuck are you going to do about it? And Baby goes, I'm going to cut your tits off and shove them down your throat. What a threat that is. Cut your tits off? Fuck. And then, they make their excuses and leave, as you would.
Because the car just conveniently was ready
just
at that
so
time.
Happens to be ready at that point, yeah. And then, little home spot, they try and dash off in the now repaired car.
And then all kinds of scarecrows.
And then, 2 scarecrows beat the fuck out of them with baseball bats.
And these
but they're not scarecrows. It's Otis and...
Yeah, Otis, was he Native American or was he just very dark-skinned?
I think he's dark. I think he's just dark-skinned, I think. Maybe, he could be Native American, though. I mean...
I don't know. It's just he very much so felt like he wasn't really part of the family.
Yeah, no.
But still, part of the family.
Pretty weird family, so fuck it. They can all be explained away. Yeah, they start coming around in the spooky house.
Simultaneously, I feel very important to point this out before we forget this. The father of one of the girls, and I think it's Billy's girlfriend, the blonde.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not? Why not?
One of the girls.
Is missing his daughter because they didn't get to his house last night because it was about Halloween, and he starts calling the local police authorities.
And at some point we find out he's a former cop, but I don't think they say that up front. I think it's just dropped in later on, actually, after this point.
I think it's because they put that in because of the ease he managed to get the sheriff to do something.
Yeah.
Otherwise you get missing persons filing reports, etc.
Yeah.
So this is a little plot that runs along in the background for a little bit, which brings us back to Captain Spaulding in a very entertaining fashion. But
oh god, it does. That is such a great confrontation.
Sid Haig. I wish there were more movies with Sid Haig like that.
Oh, right. Spaulding should have really got his own movie after this, I think.
Isn't he in the sequel?
He is in the sequel. He takes a bigger part in the sequel as well.
Ah, good. That's something to look forward to then. Right, so they start coming around and they get beaten the shit out of somewhat. They're all abused and tortured.
Yeah,
and this is when I started thinking this might have been like a proto-torture porn film. And I don't like the word torture porn for a horror genre because I think it does a disservice to things like Saw and Hostel because it makes people think it's just about the cutting people open bits rather than the driving, how do you put this? The driving sadisticness behind it.
Yeah, I think the Saw sequels, I think that's fair. The first one, though. The first one's got some good ideas.
I would go to bat a little bit for the Saw movies because there's always a plot in the background that is more important than the bodies we see. But, that's neither here or there because this is House of Thousand Corpses. That's
another podcast. But I know what you mean. Like for example, if you search for this film on Netflix, it comes up saying, like, movies related to this, and it is all, like, Hostel, Saw, like, it's all of those movies where it is very much, like, the Gorn or torture porn. So Human Centipede comes up, all that kind of thing. I feel
like this is, like, a starting point for that, maybe, because it was 2003 and that genre wasn't big yet. But this is so much more than that. Sure, they all get, like, they undergo horrors. Absolutely stuff I wouldn't wish upon some of my worstest enemies. But it's not a horror porn. It's not like they go to town just for the sake of, oh, haha, look, these are his insides.
Yeah, exactly.
We just made it a smiley face.
I think I don't think it does go too graphic. You get the gist always of what horrible things are happening, but it never kind of shows like a big gross close up. I think the hardest thing is when a baby around this time scalps Jerry with the fucking straight razor, and that is quite gruesome. But it's not as if because we get to see Rainn Wilson's character as well, Billy. He gets cut up a little bit with a straight razor, but it's all shot in like slightly out of focus, and it's all got this weird filter over it. It doesn't show big gross close-ups of like the gore, so I don't think it is sort of reveling in like, oh, look at this gross
exactly.
shit. It's getting across the point of like, oh, and now they're subjected to some terrible things.
It was more the style of it rather than the act of it.
Yeah, exactly. I think so.
So we have to say goodbye to Billy because he becomes the half-fish man.
The half-fish man? I didn't see that coming.
I don't know why the fuck they went for that, but sure. They stitched together his upper part of his body with the lower part of a rather big fish.
Yeah, and very weird off-screen death for Billy, but whatever, okay.
Okay, this is about the point where the dad comes back into focus, I think, and the two law enforcement,
the two
sheriffs,
or the sheriff and his deputy rather.
Yeah, and they get to the Firefly residence.
That one, Officer Nash, like the sidekick one.
Walter Goggins.
Yeah, I was fucking doing my head in trying to think where I recognised him, and then I IMDb him because he is such a distracting presence because of his weird face.
You say that in a film filled with people with weird faces.
Yeah, I know, but like not weird. He's not weird. He's got very striking features. Let's say very.
Yeah, I only know his name is Walter Goggins because I recently saw The Hateful Eight.
Well, when I IMDb'd him, I was like, oh, he's in loads of films that I've seen, but I don't remember him being in them. I actually thought I recognised him from some Adam Sandler movies, but it turns out it's not him. Where I do recognise him from, this is so obscure as well, is that he is part of the gang, Owen Wilson's gang in Shanghai Noon. That's where I know him from. That's where I fucking recognise. As I was going down IMDb, I was like, oh, that's it. That's it. He's part of Roy O'Bannon's gang.
That's not right. Something I would have gone for myself, but sure.
That's where I recognised him. But yeah,
he's a great character actor. He's great in bits.
He is. He's great in this. Yeah, and again, the cop with the big tash. He's great. He's like the old head and Walter Goggins' character is all. He's got such a little fucking chip on his shoulder. He's all like, he got tapped with this shit. He's all a little shit kicker of a cop. Thinks he's tough. Has a little go at the Grease monkey for sitting on his car. This ain't your damn living room. All that shit. He's great. He loves chewing the scenery. Loves it.
Oh, and the mustachioed man, he gets killed by Mama Firefly. Let's call it that. Yeah. And the scene where is it Dr. Satan? It's Dr. Satan, isn't it? He shoots. We kind of skipped over his introduction. So Dr. Satan turns out to be real inside the film. And he confronts that all the fucking weird shit that's going on around the area, that was true. And these kids are now all going to die. How did we miss this?
I don't know. It's skipping over.
That's awful. So Dr. Satan is real and he has white hair down to his elbows and he's a fucking weirdo and he cuts people up and he stitches them into weird homunculi, to put lack for a better term. And Dr. Satan shoots the girl's dad, the Halloween dad. I don't know his name either. I'm horrible.
Halloween dad.
The scene where he keeps the deputy under shot and he forces him on his knees. That is such a long scene. But that's I love that scene so much.
It got to the point where I thought the
movie froze.
I was like, is it crashed? Is this frozen? And I was about to start checking, and then finally he shoots him because there's a little soundtrack playing, and it's some weird country song, and there's such a weird disconnect between what's happening. It's like, oh, this is all of it.
But it's such a slow scene, not just because the time it spends on camera, but the way the amount of frames per second as well. Because when he finally shoots him, it's a very slow explosion out of his head.
Yeah, the big plume of smoke comes.
Yeah,
up
and the body slumps. It doesn't immediately drop down. Oh,
and
that's
again, we've only spent like 2 scenes with that character by Walter Goggins, and he's such a little fucking fire plug. And then he gets all scared of the dog, and then when the bullets start flying, he's like pissing his pants, and he gets down on his knee, like he's just completely emasculated in this, and you feel so bad for him, even though you only spent like
feel bad for all 3 of them.
Like 5 minutes screen time tops. Like 5 minutes screen time for each of them tops, and you do feel like, oh no, I really like these guys. I don't want them to go out like this. That's cool.
Yeah, I like them better than the kids, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you throw in a little supporting character like that, and you really feel for them. It's a good thing. Like the Coens are really good at doing shit like that. You can see one character for one scene, and you suddenly feel like, I know everything I need to know about this guy. And like, yeah, I think Zombie really pulled that off here.
Yeah,
I'm comparing Rob Zombie to the Coen brothers now.
Yeah, or a Quentin Tarantino side.
Tarantino. Oh, actually, yeah. I was going to point out on the Netflix thing, because this really seemed weird. So when you search for it, related movies, and it all comes up, all the weird horror stuff, and the Babadook's there, and the Human Centipede, all that shit, right? And then at the bottom of this, just Pulp Fiction. But I could see it.
I wouldn't say like the Babadook, but Pulp Fiction probably yes.
Yeah, and it's odd to see like it's all horror films.
It's the same kind of shit, really, because at one point like Pulp Fiction, where Ving Rhames and Bruce Willis are about to get raped. Yeah, that's very much so this film.
Yes, very much so, I think.
Yeah, very much so. The same kind of menace and dread. So they all get dressed up in bunny suits after more physical abuse, and one of them managed to get away, which is, I don't even know if it's the blonde or the black-haired one at this point.
It's the blonde one, because she is the daughter of the cop, because when later on when Spaulding finds her, that's how he recognises her, because the cop shows her the photo. Shows him the photo.
No. So it's the black-haired one that runs away then.
Oh, well, that
in the bunny suit.
It's whoever is the daughter of the cop. It's her.
Baby chases down the black-haired one.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Sorry. No. Yeah.
You're giving away spoilers for everybody who's not seen the film yet.
Sorry. Yeah. No. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. No. So yeah, the black-haired one gets away. The one that had the set to with Baby earlier, and so Baby is like, I want to chase her down. Yeah.
Yeah. And she did exactly what she said. She started cutting off her tits with repeated stabbings to the chest.
Yeah, didn't think that was going to get paid off necessarily, but
and that is indeed quite possibly the most graphic scene in the film, where they just keep
definitely
plunging that knife down.
Yeah, that was really like, oh god, this is a bit full on. And I think that was the one scene where like it did stop to be like kind of like, oh, this is fun. Like, cause like when even like Billy being like the weird fish boy and stuff, it's all like this is so over the top and crazy, but then it's just a brutal stabbing in a cemetery. There's nothing like off the wall about that.
It was relatively bloodless before this.
Yeah,
like there was some blood, but there was not like graphic blood. It's weird to make a nuance between the two.
And there's no weird stylized like stuff going on. It is just like a bleak, stark stabbing in a cemetery.
Jeffrey and the other one, they get stuffed in a coffin and dropped into a well while the rest of the family are making weird chants.
Yeah, no, this bit.
And this is where the 1,000 corpses come from, I think, because there's like these weird cave people. I don't even know what to call them else, but like cave people.
Yeah,
they're probably like previous victims of the family, but they're just
not
weird
quite
enigma.
Zombies, but it went off the rails a little for me at this point, because I didn't really get it from here. I was like, this is because it started to seem vaguely supernatural.
It's most definitely the weirdest part of the film.
Oh, hands down, yeah, we definitely very.
These are Dr. Satan's creations, maybe.
Yeah, that's kind of how I read it as well. I was like, I suppose this is what he's doing, but I don't know.
I don't know whether or not they wanted to eat them or have them join them, because I think Jeffrey dies at this point. He just gets torn to bits.
Yeah, he just gets ripped apart, yeah.
Yeah, but she managed to get away. She runs out into the tunnels. But the people that she meets in those, all wearing bunny suits as well, they don't seem as violent as the ones in the well. It's weird. It's all very weird. That's basically all I can say about that.
Yeah, it goes really weird. And then she goes off down the tunnel, lined with the titular 1,000 corpses, presumably.
And that's where she meets a very 80s alien-like evil scientist with an exoskeleton of sorts.
Yeah, he's got all shit rigged up to him. Yeah, he's all like held up like a marionette or something.
Who looks a lot like Dr. Satan.
Yes, he does look like Dr. Satan.
Might it be like his father or his grandfather?
Again, see what I mean? This is what I was like, I don't really know what to make of all this. But what I will say is it kind of saved itself because he looks fucking great.
He looks fucking incredible. And his Igor, let's call it.
And then his fucking weird sidekick guy comes in. Yeah,
with a gas mask
so
that turns out to have like a sphincter for a face with blood coming out.
Oh, that's so fucking gross.
What the fuck?
He just takes his mask off and does like a sick, just like bleh, all this brown shit just comes out of his mouth, his fucking anus mouth. Oh, that's horrible.
But she managed to get away from him because he very helpfully plants an axe in a door that she was standing in front of. So she runs away.
He like fucks off like a supporting beam in this little tunnel thing, yeah, and drops
that
all.
As well. Yeah.
Drops all fucking.
And she tries to stab him with a big pike, and she managed to call out to victory.
Oh, do you know what I was really worried about when he took the mask off and he revealed his anus mouth, and she had the big paw? I was like, oh, she's not going to stick it in his ass face, is she? I did not. I was so worried she was going to like spear him through the anus mouth. I did not want that to happen.
It's really weird. The last 5 to 10 minutes in those tunnels. I mean, it all looked great, and it was like you're in a state of constant panic, which I should hope she was as well. But I didn't know what to make of it, really.
No,
aesthetically fantastic, but you know.
Yeah, it looked great, but I just can't. It lost me a little bit because it kind of went. Because up until that point, it was like, oh, you know, crazy hillbilly people murdering you. That's a scary idea. And then it was like, oh, and now this has just gone into the realms of fantasy. I don't understand.
Evil science!
And then they do some weird ritual where they burn a body and they're all like doing chanting and shit. There's a hilarious bit before this as well where Baby nips out for some beers. And she just gets her ass out at that point as well. And she
what was
says
that
to the
about?
cashier and the
Goober.
Rob Zombie likes to show his the Goober. Oh yeah, there's stuff with Goober. Yeah, what the fuck? That's so funny. And then
it was just. I forgot about that because that had no relevance to anything.
No, it didn't. It was just a weird little scene with Goober.
It's actually supposed to say G Ober, but my co-worker thought it was funny when he added an O. I'm saying Goober, fucking asshole.
Here's a tip: buy a new name tag, Goober. And then, and she drops the killer line in that scene. I like to get fucked up and do fucked up shit, and don't we all? just a cool little weird scene, but I just wanted to mention it because I love that line. It's fucking brilliant.
It's my raison d'être. Do fucked up and get fucked up shit.
Correct. And yeah, that about brings us to the end.
That's
she escapes from the fucking.
That's basically the end
of the big
film.
Monster Man with the axe. They burn the other chick's corpse. And she wanders off into the road, and who should find her on the roadside but good old Captain Spaulding?
Oh, I love this. This brought it all back together for me. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. And then he's like, oh, dearie, what's wrong with you? We have to get you to a doctor. And then we get the
big reveal.
The Chainsaw Massacre ending. Where it's
Chainsaw
like,
Massacre ending.
Captain Spaulding was actually part of these people all along. He's like the sheriff in the Chainsaw Massacre. And then we get like a close-up on Dr. Satan in the back seat, and another close-up, and another close-up, and then he grabs a knife, and then we hear a scream, ah! And then credits.
The end? ? And then the best ending credit music ever for a horror film, Brick House by the Commodores. And I started laughing my fucking head off.
That was a ride.
How sad.
I really don't know if I'll put it on the TV again soon, but I fucking enjoyed what I watched.
Yeah, it wasn't dull. It was a fun little thing, whatever it was. The sequel's better, I think.
Is it?
I think the sequel's a lot better, a lot more coherent as well. And you spend pretty much the whole movie in the sequel with Spaulding and the family. They become the central characters, and it's more about them than anything, and that's a good thing.
But I understand now why people say that Rob Zombie is an accredited filmmaker, because I'll be honest, Halloween remake, not really my thing. Halloween 2, really not my thing. Christ, that one is so bad.
But no, he's good. He's good. This movie, I haven't seen Devil's Reject in years, so I can't really remember how great he is sort of behind the camera. But yeah, he does a lot of stuff in this really, really well. Well shot, a lot of cool ideas.
That's at the very least, I appreciate why they put him on Halloween to begin with.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I can see why you would get that gig off the back of this. Absolutely,
definitely. So, in my opinion, this is definitely TLDR approved.
Yeah, TLDR approved. Rob Zombie, TLDR approved, and House of a Thousand Corpses, TLDR approved.
Yeah, double thumbs up for both of us.
Double thumbs up. To be fair, have we ever done a film that hasn't been TLDR approved yet?
Not yet, but I think we may have had like luck of the draw so far, and we mostly go to things that we like anyway.
Yeah, I guess we're just positive.
Mind you, we did say we would see Jumanji together.
Oh fuck yeah, we did, didn't we? Oh god, isn't it out soon as well?
It is out soon.
Oh fuck. I really don't like Kevin Hart.
See, this is what they call a sequel hook.
I really. But yeah, I mean, speaking of, excited to possibly do Devil's Reject in the future?
We'll definitely do Devil's Rejects in the future, because I quite thoroughly enjoyed this.
Yeah,
so it gives me no reason to say no to that.
And as I say, more Captain Spaulding, and that can only be a good thing.
There we go. Right, so, dear listeners, please tell us what you think of A House of a Thousand Corpses, and whether or not Stuart and I missed some nuanced world building, because that's always a thing we miss, because attention spans and all that.
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter. You can follow Stu Bram on
@StuBram2, all one word.
Don't follow Stu Bram, because Stu Bram is another person.
You can follow him if you want.
He's still a nice guy, but
He seems nice, yeah. He seems nice.
Stu Bram 2 is our Stu Bram. And you can follow me on @DutchSticker. That's Dutch, DICA. And if you want to know when we upload podcasts, it's going to be on TL_DR podcast. Right, Stuart, so I'll see you soon.
I hope so, yeah. I'll raise a glass to you and to all the listeners out there. Stay safe.
Yeah, and don't drink and drive. That's irresponsible.
Yeah, it's that time of year as well, you know.
Yeah.
If you go on the Christmas party, get your cab on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or just get a hotel.